end of the weekend, but I still wanna turn up. Yeah, I still wanna turn up. All I want is to go again, but you ain't picking your phone up. Why you messing my head up? Any night, any day, let me take you away. All I need is just saying yeah, 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 yeah. Better nights, better days, when you're here with me, babe. Cause you're all that I crave, so I wonder, where are you? Don't hide away from me when I need you most. We got love guaranteed, and I have to know, say.
Well, first of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find.
Cut it off! I am having a very bad day. I am in no mood. This, today, is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time. I'm not in the mood to play with anybody. I mean, damn it! I'm ticked off!
What's up? Nathan back, another video presentation. Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast, Season 10, Episode 22. Eyes on to see the title. Just finished watching Monday Night Football. And before we get into it, there's a few things I want to say up front. You should have had seen a couple of videos already up by now. Ravens and Commanders recaps and the WNBA Game 1 recap and Game 2 preview. Tomorrow, the Washington Mystics video and the Maryland football team preview against SMU recap with Buffalo. Those games, you tune in for that. Russell Wilson returns to Seattle. And the final score is Seattle Seahawks 17, Denver Broncos 16.
What was that? What the hell was that? I'm sorry the H words and the D words aren't appropriate over the airways, but it's going to be today. I don't know how much more of this I can take. How in God's name?
Well, okay, where do I begin? I was very some people know how I feel about the whole thing with Russ being traded from Seattle to Denver. All the man asked for was offensive line. I just think it's weird that he leaves, now you give him an offensive line, but that's on the subject for another video. I know he didn't have Melvin Gordon nor Javonte Williams. Those two, their APBs out for them. The tackling was piss poor on Denver's side of the ball. Their defense, I mean, there were just numerous opportunities for Denver to make stops. They didn't do that. Rashard Penny looked like the second coming of Ricky Walters out there. I really, really don't know how to explain some of those defensive opportunities. Defensively, they should have been a little bit better. On the plus side, some guys that show promise. The pass rush, They did a great job getting to Geno Smith. They take a few possessions, but they got it done. Look out for DJ Jones. I thought he did a really good job, particularly clogging the middle against the run. Mike Purcell, Deshaun Williams, I think something like Dermot Jones all did a great job. But when you look at this Denver Bronco team, there's just a lot of new pieces and a lot of it's chemistry. And I understand it's week 1, and you're going to need at least a couple weeks to really get some things going. Like, even though on Seattle's side of the ball, Geno Smith, fun fact, still holds the rookie record for most passing yards in the season with the Jets. This is his first start in 7 years. Completed 17 to 18, 164, 2 touchdowns. Geno Smith looked good out there. A lot of I agree with him. Some people did write him off. I'm happy for guys like him, Jacoby Brissett. They're getting out of these opportunities. But for the second half of the game, Seattle's offense, they really mildly struggled. I know DK Metcalf fumbled, and they just held to 34 yards of offense. I'd like to see some games. They got to finish. They got to be better. They got to finish games better than that. And I know Gino, and I know Pete Carroll and that coaching staff will fix that for sure. Like, defense wins championships, and they lean on their defense. And when it mattered, it mattered. Geno finished the game 23-28, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns. And I think that with this offense, he looked very comfortable, particularly in the shotgun pistol formation. There were a lot of motions and bootleg actions that made Geno Smith look comfortable. When you look at, I think his name was Cody Parkson, Will Disley, those guys were a big part of the offense, the tight ends. 8 receivers touched the ball differently. Geno was just sacked twice, and those are coming from Bradley Chubb. It's interesting that the same offense that Russell Wilson was there, Russ was there, they always go back to the same things that worked well when Russ was there. And when you look with Geno, he brings a more I think that the offensive scheme there's more dynamic. And again, the offensive coordinator, I think his name is Shane Waldron, is another part of that Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan family tree. And remember the same thing like last year when he was in San Francisco. I see the resemblance of this offense. Seattle's defense, I thought did a good job. Even though they let Denver score 16 points, Denver just did a horrible job at the goal line. They did force fumbles on back-to-back possessions. I know there was one play where Quavion Diggs did get Melvin Gordon. He stripped him out the ball out of Melvin Gordon's hands. And then, on those 2 possessions where both of them fumbled, that was just good. That was good red zone defense. Denver did have 6 points on field goals, and they have 4 drives within Seattle's 15. And they play defense. Now, I think the biggest thing that will hurt Seattle is Jamal Adams. He will be out for a significant amount of time. He did hurt his knee, and that's your playmaker back there. Because if you look, especially what happened was it was the first play of the game where they had him playing in a linebacker alignment on the field as the third safety. Seattle has used that before, and it just got hurt. He's definitely been the defensive leader. Now the MRI is supposed to get it tomorrow and see how significant the injury will be, but I have a feeling he'll be out for a few weeks. Now, let's painfully. No, not before I get in that. I mean, with Denver, with Seattle, it was the don't break, don't bend defense. Yes, they did surrender over 400 yards, and they did force a couple of goal line fumbles, but they made the necessary stops. Seattle's defense was more disciplined, and they got the job done. Now let's painfully let's talk about Denver. Um, as I stated, Melvin, if you take away those two fumbles by Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, they couldn't hold on to the ball, left their hands back at the hotel. I had concerns with this offense anyway for Denver because of a couple things. You went all in to upgrade a quarterback, and it was the defense that kept things close. Particularly Bradley Chubb and those guys. Like it's going to take a couple weeks for Russ to build that rapport with Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. Yeah, they did make big plays, but when it counted, it wasn't consistent. If anything, it looked very, very inconsistent, and it looked very lackadaisical. I mean, they had 12 penalties offensively. That's not going to win you back. That's not going to win you football games. I was going to say it's not going to win. I was about to say it's not going to win you basketball games. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. When you look at it, like there were just a lot of issues. I mean, Denver's play calling tonight was just some of the most mind-boggling things I can ever see. I mean, the play calling was just not that great. The clock management was not that great, and the utilization of the timeouts was crazy to me. Question, and maybe someone can explain this, right? So if you're at the goal line, right? Why would I run? It was a shotgun formation play. I mean, you didn't do it not once, but you did it twice. Mind-boggling. Because a couple things is you limit your offense because you take your running backs out of rhythm and the shotgun look, and Denver made them pay for it. And I just those last 7 minutes, you just can't rely on field goals. And especially when you're deep on the defensive side, your defense was on the field for five or more minutes, longer than one expects is consistently. That's not going to win you back. That's not going to win you football games.
I mean, this is some bad stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how much more of this I can take. I just don't know. This is ridiculous. Oh, Lord. I
thought the turning point of the game was those two goal line fumbles. And then, the fact that they got the ball back and they for 15 plays on the next drive, settled for 3 points. And then once Denver turned the ball over, that second time it was over. But let's talk about the last few minutes of that game. And if I'm paying Russell Wilson $200 million plus, right? Whatever the contract is, I can see if the game was tied and you're trying to win the game, but you're down one. First and foremost, Nathaniel Hackett, you have 3 timeouts. You had a minute and some change. Why in the hell would you let 30 seconds come off the clock to only settle for a 64-yard field goal? Please, someone answer that question for me. You invested all of this money in Russell Wilson for that to happen. That was the most poorest clock management I have ever seen. That was horrible. I mean, I'm not. Brandon McManus is a great kicker. I get it, but I think, but that tells me you don't have confidence in Russell Wilson to win you the game. You go for it. It's a 4th and 5. Go for it. At least give Brandon McManus a few more yards to win the game. But Jesus, that was bad. I mean, like you. Oh my gosh! I mean, the just the mismanagement of those 7 minutes and of the fourth quarter was bad. I mean, I'll go back to the defensive side of the ball really quick. Even though the tackling was an issue, but Seattle, if you paid attention, ladies and gentlemen, if you watched that game, those 7 minutes, Seattle was a lot of short passes, short, shallow passes, and yet Denver, they kept using all their corners were 8 to 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. But because to me, that's poor. That's an adjustment you failed to make. But you were also giving Seattle, you're saying you're letting them get those easy, quick passes. But again, like this falls on everybody, because that was some of the most awful football I've ever seen in quite some time. They really should be ashamed of themselves. They really should be. I mean, I never in my wildest dreams, you had a chance to win the game. You had 3 timeouts. You took 30 seconds off the clock, 64-yard field goal. That is egregious.
I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. This is disgusting. It's disgraceful. It's embarrassing. And I'm ticked off. It don't make any sense. This is unacceptable. Unacceptable. And something needs to be done about it. Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
I know it's going to be talked about tomorrow morning. I know it's going to be. That's going to be the story of the day. Nathaniel Hackett can coach the game of football, but that's just poor clock management. And they play San Francisco, I think it is, next weekend. I don't even know what to expect. But I think he's getting like $245 million. I think that's what the contract is. And you don't give him an opportunity to win the game. He had 3 timeouts. 3 timeouts, y'all. It's not like he had none. Let me get off that. And unfortunately, yeah, let me your thoughts on the game. The more I talk about it, because I'm tempted to really break my TV, and I don't want to do that, because it just makes no sense. But y'all let me know your thoughts in the games in the comments below about the game. I mean, it was great to see Russ out there. I hate to see how the era in Seattle ended, but I think he'll do fine in Denver. I just have questions about their offensive chemistry More point, this is a whole new identity, a whole new team. It's going to take them a couple weeks to get it together. Prior to Geno Smith, I think Geno Smith definitely. More good games are about for him to come. I'll say that I think with him under center, I say Geno Smith will throw for 25 touchdowns this season. I'm putting a guarantee on that.
Guarantee.
Just let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think of the game? What would you have done differently? But Lord have mercy. It's going to be some interesting sports talk in the morning. But that's going to conclude this episode of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, be tuned in for future episodes. As I said, tomorrow be on the lookout for those 2 videos, Washington Mystics and the Maryland football team recap. But until then, closing message. If you set your mind, no, I already said that already. What's a good closing message? Take a moment to reflect. Take a moment to reflect of the good things that have happened in your life, respectively. As a young man of faith, I believe that God will never steer you in the wrong direction. God will always steer you to do great things, because we were all put on this earth to do some good. And definitely take a second to thank God for the blessings that He's given you, myself, and others. Because like I said, for me, just having that relationship with God is important. And a few years ago, I don't know where my life would be without really, honestly, there were things that I went through, and I'm still learning to get over. But a lot of that's through power of prayer, and a lot of that is through healing, and also too, a lot of it is self-reflecting and asking for forgiveness, and also praying for those that have caused the pain, have caused the trauma. So just take a moment to reflect on the things that God has done for you. That's my closing message. But until then, please like, comment, subscribe. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good night. Have a great day at work, school. Happy Tuesday. Happy Taco Tuesday, excuse me. I will catch y'all tomorrow. Have a good night. Stay up.
But I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. Thanks for the kind words. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys if they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bring your sports game on Big Nate Sports Talk.
Told you so extra, but I know I'm the same. Yeah. Love me in spite of my trauma. Give me what I need instead of the drama. Cause when it pop off, it's like, oh my, all good all day, but the night we be going so hard on the flip side. So tell me what we on a day, babe. I could keep that same energy. When you go low, I go low too. But you'd rather stay high, I know.